Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, so we've had Trump running around talking with Putin in Russia, the state of Alaska in Russia. And then Zelensky came on Monday surrounded by 7 different leaders in Europe. And they all effusively praised Trump because, of course, they had to. That's how you get him to do things. You make him feel special. And Donald always needs to feel special. But as I said in yesterday's reading, this is all a distraction from the Epstein case. And we have Epstein case updates, so let's take a look at those. The Department of Justice has committed to start providing documents on the Epstein case to the House Oversight Committee, headed up by James Comer. Not somebody who I trust. You know, we watched him lead the Joe Biden impeachment inquiry. And while they didn't trump up charges against Biden, they also didn't find anything. And rather than call the investigation off, they just kept perpetuating it because they wanted it to be open when election time came. So you'll forgive me if I have no faith in James Comer and being nonpartisan. But they are to be getting documents on Friday. Former Attorney General Bill Barr testified behind closed doors to Congress on Monday. I'm not sure if he had to come back today on Tuesday to do more testimony, but he was there answering questions. Now, in this CBS article, they came up with some questions that they would have asked Bill Barr. Like, Bill Barr said when Epstein was killed, Bill Barr and some members of his senior staff went down to that prison, which is very, very unusual. They don't normally get the Attorney General of the United States and his senior staff going down for a prison death, according to those people that work the prison. Maybe for a promotion, but not for an inmate death. And Barr said that he watched surveillance and he didn't see anybody enter in Epstein's cell. So one question CBS would have asked is, what about the missing minute? Was it missing the minute when you watched it? Barr in his testimony said back in 2019 that between the time Epstein was locked in his cell at 7:49 p.m. And discovered dead the next morning at 6:30, that no one entered his tier, I guess the floor that he was on. But from what we've seen on the cameras, you couldn't see. And since a lot of cameras just apparently weren't working that day, you couldn't see on his tier. There was a partial staircase leading up. And at 10:40 p.m., there was a glimpse of an orange shape moving up the stairs. The Inspector General said, it was probably a jail staffer carrying clothes, but could also be an inmate. It was an orange after all, and from what, I'll just leave it there. And according to the autopsy, an autopsy was performed, but the Epstein family had a private autopsy done along with the official medical examiner, and the findings showed that there were ligature marks on Epstein's neck in the presence of broken neck bones that would suggest a level of force greater than typically associated with the hanging. The medical examiner disputed that, saying such fractures can occur in suicides. Okay, I'm sure they could. What would be the instances where that could happen? Basically, in other words, if somebody hangs themselves, they could do that. But did they fall a distance? Did they have to fall a certain distance? Did they have to tie a certain knot? Did they have to use a certain material in order to do it? You know what I mean? If the only way you can hang yourself is by bending your knees because your feet would be touching the ground, it's not going to give enough force. How are you going to break those bones? And what was his bone density like relative to other people? Maybe some people have more brittle bones than others. Was Epstein one of those people? All sorts of questions that aren't answered. Okay. Oh, Epstein also said that in his previous testimony that he was not familiar with anything like a client list for Epstein. That's interesting. There's a lot of denial about this client list, and maybe there isn't. That doesn't seem likely, but maybe there isn't. Especially when Pam Bondi was asked if she had the client list on her desk, and she said yes back in January, February of this year. Maybe there isn't. But if there is, and they're saying there isn't, they better hope to shout that Russia, Israel, or any other country doesn't happen to have a copy of that client list. Because if that's revealed, your credibility is out the window. Pam Bondi's credibility is out the window. The entire Justice Department's credibility is out the window. Just saying. Because you both can't be right. Let's take a look at the energy around the Epstein case as documents are about to be revealed on Friday. What do we need to know with the Epstein case? Let's just fast forward a little bit as the documents are released. I'm just wondering if we're going to get all the documents or a curated list. Apparently the documents will be redacted to prevent the victims' names from being put out there. Okay, entertainment purpose only. Let's take a look at the Epstein document case. 4 of coins, restriction. Yeah, I mean, obviously there'll be redactions in here. It's going to be released. They're holding on to it tightly. But let's see what more cards are. I mean, this could be anywhere from the Justice Department's been holding on to them tightly and now they're forced to give them up to they're not giving up everything. What's the cross? 9 of Wands. Oh, geez. Oh, geez. And the Tower card. I think this actually is the Justice Department's been holding on to these documents under orders from the Trump administration to hold on to those documents. And Congress has now demanded them, and they've run out of time. They know that they have to release these documents. I would not be surprised if they hold some back, or if they redacted Trump's name the 10,000 times it shows up in there. They better hope the Page of Swords doesn't show up in any of these readings, because that'll be a whistleblower. If asked if Trump's name was redacted and they refuse to answer it, somebody may come forward with that information. But it's kind of like oh crap, we got to release these. And that's why I'm saying this is the oh crap card, because we have the Tower underneath here. When these documents are released, and I'm holding my breath on this one because I really don't believe it, but all hell's going to hit the fan when those documents are released on Friday. Again, I don't know if they're getting all of them on Friday. I imagine they will be getting some on Friday. Yeah, this has definitely got the feel of Trump and the Department of Justice holding on to the documents. Because now we've got the anxiety and the nightmare. This could also be Trump holding on for dear life, knowing that when these come out, he's screwed. In the past, you get the Nine of Swords. The absolute anxiety with this Epstein case and those documents. Current situation is judgment. When those documents come out, MAGA has been screaming for these. Hell, we've been screaming for these. We want to see them. We want to see them. We want to know who's who in this one. What do these documents show? Apparently, there's been billions of dollars moving around too. So, this is not a small potatoes type thing. This is extremely important. People are going to be in trouble here. Overarching energy is the Hierophant. Yeah, the government's overseeing this, but I think the government's also implicated. But let's take it at a higher reading here. The government's demanding, Congress is demanding this, and you have to give it up. Oh, jeez. I said all hell's going to break loose. Yeah, you know what's going to happen? All hell's going to break loose. The monster is rampaging the countryside. The Republicans were not able to bury this. It's coming out. And there's going to be mayhem. Careers in government will probably be ended over this. Whew! And things are going to be coming out quickly. Lots of messaging coming out quickly on this one. I'm not sure if this is Congress putting this out there. I really wish this was more like a January 6th committee than a James Comer-led committee, House Oversight Committee, but it looks like it's going to be bad. It looks like it's going to be really bad. You know, got the Tower card and the Five of Wands. This is going to be a disaster for some people. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican on this. It's going to be a disaster if you're implicated with this. And my thought is, you're not a Democrat or Republican. In my mind's eye, you're a rapist. You're a child rapist. Call it what it is. I don't care what your political affiliation is. I don't care what your station in life is. Ten of Swords just popped up. I was going to ask, are we going to... is the Department of Justice hiding sensitive documents, whether it's Trump's name on the documents or sensitive documents that would cast Trump in a bad light? Because, you know, pretty much anybody else is fair game. Again, they're going to protect some powerful Republicans if they can, but Trump absolutely will be protected. That's my guess. But will they withhold documents? Just looking for confirmation. It's like a positive control. I think withhold documents involving Donald Trump. King of Wands. There's your Department of Justice. The Fool card. I would say it would be foolish to do it. Four of Swords. That's contemplation, retreating, hiding things. And then we've got the Three of Cups, the celebration, with the Moon card, the mystery. Will they be hiding documents for Trump? They're certainly thinking about it. Just like the cat is certainly thinking about jumping up on this table up here. Let's see if I can circumvent them from doing that. Department of Justice thinking about what secrets can we keep? What can we hide? You know, when they're releasing the documents, it's going to be celebrated. People are going to be really excited to see those. And can they sort of not sneak off, but just sort of, you know, ride that wave of moving on without having to reveal everything? I think they will be holding some stuff in reserve. And if they're called out on it, then they will suddenly discover some documents. Oh, there was a box we missed. That could also just be simply the Four of Swords with the Fool card. That could simply just be the redaction of Donald Trump's name from the documents, because you use a black cat, a black liner to hide it. Hello, you're being a pain in the butt. Go now. He woke up from a nap. He's hungry. He needs all the loving because it was nap time. I'll go wake up the kitten and let her go beat the crap out of him, and then he'll have something to do. So will they give up all the documents? I think they're going to try and hold some in reserve. I think they will try and hold. If they hold some documents in reserve, will that be discovered and those documents released in a timely manner? I think we need to caveat that 20 years from now is not going to be a timely manner. But if they're hiding documents, will it be released in a timely manner? Say a matter of weeks. Not really looking for months or years. with the attention, basically, we're trying to get the whole story here if Trump was involved. Because we know he was. And the documents they're going to hide is going to be Trump and then maybe some other really, really powerful people. And we kind of want to put this thing to bed. Are we going to see that? Okay. Had to eject the cat from the room because he's not taking no for an answer. All right. There's one card that just came out. We'll leave it out. We'll have two signifiers. Will information be let out in a timely manner on Trump and on other powerful people? First one will be Trump. Second one will be other powerful people. Trump. That's going to be upside down. Yeah, that's like the death card situation. My deck's upside down here. And other powerful people is the devil card. Good Lord. It's funny because they've been redacted. Will they've got them. I think. Will they release them? This is telling me they've got those cards. Let's do a full 7-card spread. There's kind of an agreement on who they wanted to protect. And, they were working, like in this case, to redact Donald Trump from those documents and doing things to prevent information from going out with these other people. And it's going to be, there's an actual effort going on to protect these folks, to sort of resist calls for those documents. But Congress is still going to be there asking for them. It's almost like, the documents that they're reviewing indicate that there are documents missing, and then they come looking for those documents. So not only is there an active thing to hide them, but there's an active investigation to find them. Outcome's going to be the Two of Swords crossed with the Hangman. Oh, interesting. So, asked if they would be released on time in a timely manner. It's like it's just like saying some will, some won't. It's kind of like they have to decide who they're going to throw under the bus. If Donald Trump suddenly is no longer a viable candidate, they will release the Trump documents. You know what I mean? Like if he's fled the country or he's had a massive stroke and he can't be president anymore and he can't go to jail, yeah, they'll release him, but they don't need to protect him anymore. With those other powerful people, it kind of depends who's in favor, who's not in favor, or who's in charge. I would say that the Pam Bondi Justice Department versus the next Justice Department will probably look at things just a little bit differently. What else do you want us to know, Spirit, about the release of the Epstein documents this upcoming Friday? What else would you have us know about this? Do a 7-carder, and then we'll call it good here. Page of Wands. Speaking of actions, future actions that need to be taken, and the initiation of investigations, and underneath is an Emperor. I would not be surprised, and I think they've already called for a special counsel. I would not be surprised if a committee isn't put together. I don't know if you need a special counsel. You might need a special counsel to look into if there was maybe like a cover-up or a murder with Epstein. But I think this is going to be a congressional counsel to get to the bottom of things, to put all this data together and look at it. Again, like a January 6th committee. In the past, you got the Sun card. Things have been revealed involving children. Inappropriate things with children. The current situation, Queen of Cups. This is normally trying to keep things under wraps, but I think the lid's going to be, in this case, I think the lid's going to be blown off of that cup. Yeah, Yeah. This is going to be more, the lid's going to be blown off this cup. This is going to lead to the downfall of many a person. Lesson to be learned, Six of Swords. People, it's like a couple of things. One, some people will be sent up the river. Some people are going to try to escape. Some people hope that things will calm down now that this has been released. But I think this is a progression. All this information leads to a progression of what happened with women and children. The outcome was the Empress. Oh, jeez. So many different interpretations of that. I'm hoping underneath is the Emperor and the outcome is the Empress. That does mean there's going to be a committee that's going to be looking at all of this. This could also be it could be a Russia card. We know that. Oh, jeez. That Russia stole thousands of Ukrainian children. And I think it was the leader of the European Union. There was a woman that was speaking to Trump. I saw this clip on Midas Touch. And she was mentioning about all the children that were kidnapped out of Ukraine and brought to Russia. And that they suspect have been trafficked. And they want part of the peace agreements with Putin. Top priority has to be the returning of all of those children back to Ukraine. And Trump said, "Oh yeah. You know, it's not quite the peace talks we were on, but yeah, we negotiated a really good deal the last week." He was talking about like a trade deal. I don't know what he heard her say, but he clearly didn't hear her say about children being sex trafficked. Or he did, and he's talking about getting a really good deal on sex trafficking children. It didn't feel like that. He looked more like the confused old man who didn't hear, who wasn't paying attention or is pretending to hear and he can't hear because his answer was nonsensical. But that'll be a reading. Trump's mental health and his just decline. That's a different reading than this one. Okay. That was the final message on this one. What was that final answer? Oh, that it looks like they'll probably, this isn't going to end on Friday when the things come out. This is going to spur on what should be a special congressional investigation into this matter. And I hope they take their job seriously and go into this, because child sex trafficking shouldn't be a partisan issue. Right? Can we all agree that Republicans don't want child sex trafficking and Democrats don't want child sex trafficking? Did we finally find something we can all agree on? We'll see. Thank you very much for watching this video, supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.